parents. For those of you who have never met me in person, my name is Alice Thwaites, and I'm a Burt Church High School 2020 graduate. I am honored to deliver a toast thanking all of you parents for supporting us through the past 4 years of high school. Firstly, I would like to give a big thanks to the creators of YouTube for streaming the Burt Church High School 2020 virtual graduation, as well as being the platform of choice for procrastinating our homework every night. Graduates, please liberally apply hand sanitizer and then kindly take your parents' hands and repeat after me. I am so sorry. You are the parents of Generation Z, and for that, you deserve an award. To help you parents out in the future, I have compiled a list of tips for parents of high schoolers. Let me introduce you to what I like to call How to Survive 4 Years of Teenage Angst and Mood Swings, bonus edition, How to Cope with Your Teen's Extremely Unhealthy TikTok Addiction. Number 1, cherish the time you spend with your child, because before you know it, they'll be growing up and, if you're lucky, moving out. That is, unless you have a teenager graduating in the middle of a global pandemic. You still have another 6 months with us at home before we're moving out. Get ready to experience helping your teenager with online learning, post-secondary edition. Number 2, find the right balance between pushing your child to do better and supporting them in their endeavors. Encourage your child to stop watching The Office and to instead watch a crash course video on the digestive system or the effect of liberalism on our modern society. However, understand that sometimes trigonometry is like reading a foreign language with a blindfold on. Number 3, let me introduce you to the concept of time zones. The Oxford Dictionary defines a time zone as one of the 24 areas that the world is divided into, each with its own time that is 1 hour earlier than that of the time zone immediately to the east. It is my pleasure to inform you that your children actually operate on their own secret time zone. To your teenager, night occurs approximately from the hours of 2 a.m. to 2 p.m., and this may explain the chronic late nights and weekend mornings your child spends sleeping in. And lastly, what you're all waiting for. Do not agree to be in a TikTok with your child unless you are okay with videos of you doing the Renegade and Dancing to Cannibal by Kesha going viral. Now, I would like all the 2020 grads watching this to think for a minute about what they would like to thank their parents for. Because although most of us don't want to admit it, we truly are grateful for all the love and support you have provided us with. I'll start you off by saying a thank you to my parents. Thank you for constantly driving me to my 8 a.m. meetings. Thank you for always asking me how my day went. Thank you for telling me to wear a jacket to school because it is colder than I thought it was outside. And thank you for letting me miss my grade 11 chemistry exam to attend a Shawn Mendes concert instead. Sorry about that, Miss King. On a more serious note, though, we genuinely do thank you. Thank you for always driving us to our sports practices despite the Alberta snowstorms. Thank you for attending the many musicals and band concerts where you were always clapping the loudest. Thank you for picking us up when we were crying over a physics test. And thank you for motivating us to get up and to go to school at 9 a.m. when we, quote, literally could not. So, ladies and gentlemen, please raise your glasses of non-alcoholic beverages, that is, unless you are over the age of 18, while we thank our parents for dealing with us through 12 long years of public education. On behalf of the entire senior student body, I can easily say that your love and support has shaped us into the amazing people we are today, and that we truly would not be here without the countless sacrifices you have made on behalf of us. Please join me in honoring the parents of the class of 2020.
Hello, graduating students, parents and teachers. My name is Kevin Thwaites and I am the father of Alice. It is my pleasure and honour to speak on behalf of all the parents today and to represent some of our thoughts and reflections as we witness our daughters and sons graduate from Burt Church High School. But before I begin, and in the interest of health and safety, can I please ask that you all ensure that you are at least 6 feet away from the screen in front of you? Otherwise, I'm going to have to wear a face mask and none of you will understand me. Now, it must be said that you won't experience many graduating ceremonies quite like this, cooped up at home and unable to share this special moment in close proximity with the friends that you have spent many years at Burt Church with. But that said, things could be worse. And we could all be on a Zoom call at the moment, struggling to see hundreds of little thumbnails, especially as parents with failing eyesight. We have all, as parents, watched with pride over the last 18 years as our children have grown into the young adults that we now see before us. I'm sure many of us have lost countless nights of sleep and worried for hours about how our children would turn out. But here we now stand, bursting with pride at their achievements. I remember when we first arrived in Canada, and Alice was an incredibly quiet and reserved little girl. There were times when I wondered whether she would come out of her shell, but elementary school debate clubs, lead roles in middle school plays, and now president of the high school student union, makes you realise how far our children have grown and blossomed over the years. I'm sure we all have similar stories to tell, and tell them we will, regardless of whether anyone is listening. I think as parents we should be incredibly proud of not only what our children have achieved, but also what we have achieved with them. Our children are not just the ones that have been on a journey. We too have experienced a journey of many ups and downs, and many highs and lows. We have spent countless hours attempting to help our children with their homework, only to realise that we really didn't know the subject as well as we thought, or only to realise that they don't now teach things the way that we thought when we were at school. Regardless of these challenges, we have all reached the high school finish line, most of us in one piece. And that is not only testament to our sons and daughters, but to ourselves as parents as well. The fact that the graduating students have now reached the finish line is not only in part to their desire to learn, to succeed and to conquer, but is as much due to the selfless dedication of the teachers that have spent the last 4 years in their lives. Without the teachers of Burt Church, our children would not have the diverse academic foundations to build upon, and we would not be celebrating our sons' and daughters' successes today. I would like to take this opportunity, on behalf of the parents, to thank Burt Church High School and its teachers, as well as all of the administration staff who have selflessly supported each and every one of our children and given them not only the necessary academic framework to expand upon, but the essential life skills that are required to succeed in the modern world. A world, I might add, where it is now perfectly acceptable to walk into a bank wearing a mask and demand money. Who would have thought? I would imagine that there is a tradition on this occasion for the parent speaker to offer some advice, words of wisdom, to our graduating students as they leave school and begin their next journey into the big wide world. For what parent can resist the urge to offer unasked for advice to a group of teenagers, particularly including their own? But alas, I am going to resist that urge. Why? Because I really don't think you need advice from me. Because of your time at Burt Church, you are better equipped to move on to the challenges and opportunities of adult life. You are more mature, more aware, more tolerant, more caring, more broadly educated, and more inquisitive. You are so well equipped for the next phase of your lives, and I and all other parents know you have the ability to do well and succeed. Tomorrow is what you make of it. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, but do be afraid of not learning from them. Be encouraged to learn new things, but discourage yourself from not trying. I will leave you with a quote from Senator Orrin Hatch. Graduation is not the end, it's the beginning. Now, please all join me in honouring the graduating students of Burt Church Class 2020.
Good evening, parents, staff, and fellow classmates. Today is a very exciting day, graduation. A student's journey to graduation is filled with many obstacles, and throughout our lives, there are people that have assisted us through these moments of trials and uncertainty. So on behalf of all the students of Burt Church, I would like to thank the teachers for the sacrifices that you've made to get us here. I would also like to thank everyone for being here at one of the most memorable events of our lives. Even though this isn't exactly how we imagined graduation would be, it's nice to know that even through this pandemic, we persevere. When I first came to Burt Church in grade 10, from a tiny school, I was beyond nervous. On top of that, I was not at all excited to switch to another new school since I've moved around quite a few times and attended so many different schools. But unlike any of the other schools, within the first 2 weeks, I began to feel so welcomed and I started loving it here. And I think that's because in addition to the awesome group of students we have, the teachers were the cherry on top. Every single teacher I've had since then has pushed me so much, and I'm so thankful for that. And most importantly, regardless of how many questions I had or how annoying I was, they were always there to support me. For instance, after bothering him in the morning and after school, I had the great idea that the best time to email a teacher would be while they were giving a eulogy. Even though this was horrible timing, I still received a reply not 2 minutes after. Sorry, Mr. Ruhies. Or when, even though I was absolutely awful at soccer, Mr. Kirk still allowed me the opportunity to play and actually taught me that it's so much better to try something that you never really expect to try, because I had so much fun tripping on the field and occasionally kicking the ball in the right direction. Although, I have to say, my favorite part was probably getting to see his monochrome Monday outfits. All joking aside, it is the teachers that have helped mold us in this amazing journey. They have played a crucial role in who we are and who we are yet to be, and have taught us not only the course materials, but also how to navigate the perilous waters of life. They have taught us that failure is not something to be feared, but rather an opportunity to learn and grow from. You have taught us the importance of dedication and hard work, and how to face conflict, not just in the classroom, but also in life. You are always understanding and constantly going out of your way to help us, even at 11 p.m. to edit an essay that was just written. Even through this pandemic, you have helped us emotionally, concerned not just about our academics, but also how we as people are faring. I'm sure we are all thankful for the checkups, extra help, and especially for the extended due dates. It is these things that show how the job of a teacher is never truly done, that there is constant hard work put into this role. You inspire us every day with your passion. This passion for what you do makes us want to learn. It encourages us to pursue our own interests with determination. You strive to make every lesson fun and exciting so that we are more inclined to learn. And you see the potential in every student and push us even when we fail to see this in ourselves. These things add up to what make the Bird Church staff incredible. So on behalf of all the students of Bird Church, thank you. Thank you for your dedication to educating us, even when we are struggling or when we are unwilling to learn. Thank you for staying after school to answer all of our questions. Thank you for pushing us to be our best. And most of all, thank you for not just being a teacher, but also a role model, mentor, friend, and someone who we can count on. As we leave to explore our future, know that you will forever have a lasting impact on us, and we will never forget everything you've done to help us get to where we are today.
Thank you, Dinithi. As you said, it is wonderful that we're all able to come together digitally to celebrate your graduation. While all of us expected you and your peers to end up here, I don't think any of us could have predicted that we would find ourselves celebrating in this manner due to a global pandemic. But as you said, we persevere. And that's one lesson you should take with you as your time at Bird Church comes to a close. The world rarely provides us with ideal circumstances. Even before this pandemic, most of you probably felt that school was rarely an ideal circumstance, and yet you persevered. As you consider the next phase of your life, you should probably note that it has been rare for your teachers and your parents to use the phrase ideal circumstance in educating and raising you, and yet we all persevered in getting you here. And while we're all happy to celebrate with you, we're also looking forward to you taking more control over your lives so that we can persevere a little less. Like you, I didn't start my career teaching at Bird Church. My first year as a teacher was not what I would call an ideal circumstance. The school was fine and my coworkers were nice enough, but I was tasked with teaching outside of my comfort zone and left to my own devices more often than not. When I left that school and came to Bird Church, I was so burned out and emotionally drained that I knew if I spent another year in similar circumstances, it would be the end of my career as a teacher. Thankfully, my first year at Bird Church was very much like yours, Dinithi. The students were among the most welcoming I had encountered, and the staff was phenomenally supportive. 11 years later, and I can't imagine a better group of teachers, educational assistants, administrators, and support staff to work with. Nor can I imagine a finer group of students graduating now. As a representative of the 2020 graduating class of Bird Church High School, the graduates could not have chosen a better individual to toast us. Dinithi has thanked us for our effort and our passion, and the hard work and sacrifice and suffering and late nights and endless grading and I'm getting sidetracked. Where was I? Right. Dinithi has thanked us for our efforts, but she also represents the qualities that have made teaching each of you more joy than toil. Like so many of you, Dinithi is endlessly polite and tirelessly giving. Had anyone else asked me to speak in public, I probably would have feigned illness and remained in quarantine. But she also works hard and she's persistent. Now, you probably shouldn't go so far as to email your future professors and employers during the middle of a eulogy, but I'm sure when Mr. Verhees forgives her, he will be touched by her perseverance. Dinithi is also willing to take risks. By her own admission, she was not a great soccer player, but she put herself out there, begged Mr. Kirk to allow her on the team, and gave it her all. Had he any other options, this story would probably have a different ending, but as it stands, Dinithi has exemplified the importance of taking risks and the rewards that come with them. From my own observations, she has also demonstrated the importance of being a team player. A few years ago, I had the honor of being Dinithi's cross-country running coach. During that season, the zones meet was held on a day with sub-zero temperatures. Of course, students being students, none of them dressed for the weather, Dinithi included. Having just run her final race in singlet and shorts, Dinithi stayed on the field to cheer on her teammates. In doing so, she turned so blue that she matched her uniform, but I know her enthusiasm helped carry our runners across the finish line. And your enthusiasm and participation has carried you and your teachers through these past 4 years. Like anything worth doing, it has been a daunting mix of heartwarming gratification and never-ending effort to get you to this point. Normally, I would say that the best way to thank us for our efforts would be to show up for your remaining classes on time. In these particular circumstances, I might suggest you show up in the first place, though. I'm getting a little tired of hosting Zoom meetings attended by me, 3 of you, in my basement walls. However, when this airs, there will only be a week of classes left. Accordingly, I will ask just one thing of each of you as thanks for our work. In the months and years that follow your graduation from Burt Church High School, take some time to ask something meaningful of yourself. In recognizing our hard work, take some time to ask yourself what you want from life, recognize the hard work it will take to achieve it, and then go out and work for it until you're as bone weary as your teachers are in January and June. You might not end up with exactly what you want, but if you persevere and you give and you take risks and you support those around you, you will be happy with what you get. Thank you, graduates.